Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Let's Stay Gamers, and welcome. So today we're taking a look at another beautiful item from the Steam Workshop. This is the Ecliptis B-68 cargo carrier, and I have to say it's absolutely beautiful. Now, this is created by Ecliptis V, and I have to say it's used some rather interesting design techniques. So we're going to start a tour of this ship at the front. Now, something you'll notice straight away is how we've got this rather rounded but at the same time pointed nose that feathers out as it reduces back into the larger hull area of the ship. And what it's done to define this a little bit better is it's added a different colour to each one of the ribbons. You can see that darker tone of grey just really sets off that effect. We've got a number of turrets on the top as well as some semi-constructed antennas. As we come over to this point, you can see we've got two cargo bays for quick drop-off of supplies. So maybe a ship needs to quickly drop some cargo supplies, maybe some ore or other things here. It can fly above, drop them into this area, and it will just be sucked up into the storage of the ship. But moving down into the lower area, what I really like about this is how it's been used as like a fake sort of airlock or fake sort of skin of the actual ship itself. So you can see we can just tuck ourselves in here, and inside we've got this very industrial, but at the same time this is actually outside the ship. This is not an internal structure where it's all been sealed off in the air. The actual sealed off area in the cockpit is just up there above, and down here we have the catwalk, and just look how he's used these semi-constructed blocks as well as some of these catwalks to create this really realistic looking industrial environment. You can see how he's created these support beams underneath where a lot of people just leave the flat sort of air vents as the staircases. That little bit of extra detail makes it look like it's better supported. And as we come down a little bit lower, you can see he's created this sort of radar dish up at the front of the ship using more semi-constructed blocks. And one of my favourite blocks to actually use as a semi-constructed form is the wheel block itself. You just get such a beautiful shape with it. Now as we come back into this area, you can see we've got a smaller sort of escape pod of nature, you could say. So this is actually attached up here. You can see there's two areas here, and it's not necessarily an escape pod but like a cargo sort of transporter, you could call it, where you could offload the supplies in this, use this to offload them on the actual planet themselves or do trading agreements down on the planets, and then you could take this back off and load it back inside the ship itself. It's just absolutely beautiful, just a really nice little ship on there hooked into the actual hull of the ship itself, and it's all protected by the larger ship on the outside. And something that you're going to see all over this design is docking ports for a variety of different docking methods, so ships can really connect to this thing and drop off their supplies. He's really thought about how he's done it. So just have a look how this armor's been done as well. We've got the two ribbon sections there, we've got a spacer made out of semi-constructed blocks, and then we've got this individual center pivot here where we've actually got a blast door block centered in the middle. Just look at the extra detail that's actually added to the design itself. You can see how it continues to rib and follow that pattern throughout the design. Now as we get to the center of the ship, we've actually got the cargo bay up on the top where we can actually drive our fighters, our smaller cargo ships in the inside, and then we've got a larger storage bay below. So if I just actually tuck myself in here, you can see all the storage areas inside. Just look how much storage we've got. We've got cargo container after cargo container stacked there. When I originally saw this, I had this amazing feeling that these could be pulled out and you could use these to load them on that other ship, but I don't think that's the actual case. And as we come down here to the bottom, we've got two large hydrogen thrusters, and painting them red for some reason, or that reddy orange colour, just really sets them off. He's done it at the back there as well when we get to that point. We've got these more semi-constructed blocks at the lower area, just really adding a lot of detail to this ship and the craft itself. Look how he's tucked these large hydrogen thrusters in there in just such a way where they won't burn any of the armour, but at the same time they're able to give relevant sort of pulse. So we're going to actually have a quick look at the top area where we've got a little bit of a conning tower, you could say, so you can observe the different areas and just look at how many oxygen cells here, so we can produce a lot of oxygen as we're actually moving throughout space. Now heading into the rear section of the ship, this is actually one of my favourite areas. You can see we've got a little bit of a landing bay here on the back, so another place of dropping off supplies, maybe visiting this. This could just be a completely unmanned ship that just travels between point A and B with supplies, I guess you could say. And then here at the back, we've got one of my favourite points. Look at them orange sort of engine, sort of hydrogen thrusters that he's put in the back there, and he's curved the engine bay around the hydrogen thrusters at the back. Just look how beautiful that looks. Very simple, very effective, and the use of a little bit of lighting like that can really set off the design. But once again, just a beautiful use of them semi-constructed blocks to add that reinforcement to that area. And in here we've got a few more turrets tucked away and another docking area for various other ships. So let's go back to the front, and we're just going to tuck ourselves inside. So we'll enter through the airlock here. You see that we're still outside the ship. Once the airlock's actually been opened, we're into this main corridor. If we take a left, we actually go into the cockpit itself. So the cockpit itself is quite simple. We've got a number of different decks with different cockpit screens, and we've got a few displays. It's just a very simple, basic sort of design. You don't need anything too complicated for a cargo ship. And in this area, we've got 2 reinforced sort of areas. We can see with the large, thicker armor blocks. This is the programming room. So you've got all of your programming blocks in here doing various functions around the ship. Over on this side, we have the timer block room. So we just have timer blocks in here and another turret there, so we can activate various systems around the ship once again. As we continue moving down the back through here, we've got the airlocks as we just passed, and we enter into the med bay room. You can see it's a little bit whiter in here. We've also got medical room 1 and medical room 2, and they've had a little bit of a statistics chart there. Very nice indeed. So if we go to the flight bay now, this is what's on the other side of the hangars. So just look at this room. It just looks so beautiful, the way they've used the airlocks. And you can see we've got these lower air blocks, and if I just drop my character actually in here so we can actually walk around, the lights will actually turn on as well. That's really nice. We can walk down into this lower deck where we can access all of the ships. So you've got a smaller ship, you can park it down here, offload supplies. Lights go on and off as we enter each one of these rooms, and we can control everything from here itself as well. And everything is pretty well labelled, so we can see we can open up the top and control the variety of these different rooms. If we continue going back down through here and we actually leave that hangar, we're back out on one of the exterior catwalks. So these are really great for maintenance, especially of a cargo ship of this nature. Things are going to go wrong, things can get damaged under here, and you need to be able to access your pipes and take control of it and refeed things around as you go. So we've got the jump drives in this area, just more maintenance walkways. Just really nice. It feels so industrial down here. I love that sort of industrial feel to things. So as we come to the back, we're into the hydrogen engine area. Once again, very easily accessible, and we have the hydrogen tanks being fed from this central column right to the end. Just an absolutely beautiful ship. Let's walk up this final catwalk. Now we're actually between both of the jump drives. Oh, there's so many jump drives. This thing is going to be immense, jumping between sectors with all these valuable cargo. The thing is with this sort of ship though, is you would need a reason to carry this much cargo. So you'd really have to think about, is this ship appropriate for your survival situation? Have you got somewhere where you need to deliver a lot of parts, a lot of material too? So before we wrap this up, I'm just going to quickly get in the cockpit. I'm just going to see how controllable this ship actually is. So then add a little bit of thrust to it. You can see we've got a very slow sort of acceleration. That's what you'd expect. We've actually got a really good sort of gyroscopic turning radius here, so we can turn very fast. We can rotate the ship around. We can also activate our jump drive from here if we wanted to. We'll jump off. And I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and definitely check out this ship on the workshop.